Welcome to a new anime review series. Now, I teased my last video I'm going to start reviewing a new series. Luckily enough, this series is not that far in, so I can pretty much jump onto it. This series is a review of the anime Fire Force. Yep, I'm reviewing this series. I kind of figured though, why not jump into it because there's been few people post videos about this particular series. I personally never heard of it. I heard the name mentioned a while ago, but I didn't develop much interest in it, and then all of a sudden people started reviewing it. So I figured, oh, why not check it out? This time I'm reviewing the first 4 episodes of the series. The introduction arc, which adapts chapters 0 through 12. Yes, quite unusual for a series where it starts with chapter 0. Yep, now each 4 episodes basically adapt. The first episode adapts to chapters 0 1. Episode 2, chapters 2 through 4. 3 is 5 through 8, and 4 is basically 9 through 12. Yeah, that's what's covered in these just 4 episodes. 12. Yeah, pretty much what they do is it's almost like they're adapting 4 chapters per episode. That's kind of the way it is. The first episode is simply put an introduction to some of the characters who appear in the series. The main character of the now I should point out though, this series is created by the same person who created Soul Eater. Yep. This series only started, believe it or not, the manga only started about almost 4 years ago. Yes, for a series that's fairly new. If you wonder how far the manga is right now, it's 186 chapters. I've only read the first 25 chapters. It's really good. So I figured, oh, good place to stop at the point to jump onto the anime. Because that's as far as I got to so far. Now, the characters for this series are the following. You have Shinra Kasakabe. I think that's his first name. Yes, I also point out though, this series may be the same company that makes JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, David Production. Yep, same studio. Yep. Now, the main character, his name is Shinra Kasakabe. He's voiced by Derek Snow. I mean, when you hear this guy's voice, he sounds like Todd Peppercorn, but a bit like Todd Peppercorn, but because I've heard Todd Peppercorn's voice a lot, so I know what his voice sounds like. And this is similar to that, but it's not him. It's a different person. We also have the captain of the group, Obi. He's voiced by Jeremy Ironman. I'm not familiar with this particular dub actor. Nope. And a lot of these characters are pretty much introduced in. Okay, he's the voice of. Let's see. He's the voice of Android 16 from DBZ. He's also the voice of Tartarus, a character from Black Clover, some character from Case Closed. He also was in One Piece voicing Magellan, Patty, and Barospa. He was also in the second season of Rosario Plus Vampire, and he was also in Toriko. That's basically it. Not really big of a big dub actor. Mm-hmm. There's also Tanakasha Hinua. He's voiced by Chris Winkamp. There's also Maka Oz, voiced by Sarah Roosh. Appearance-wise, this character reminds me a lot of the character Pookie, well, it's referred to as Pookie Brow from Blue Exorcist, and Earjack from My Hero Academia, but different color, but similar design. There's also the beautiful nun named Iris, voiced by Alexis Tipton. Now, this woman I have heard of before. Yep. Now, all these characters make their debut in just the first episode. The episode starts off with talk about a little about now the series is set in the year of Soul Year 198. It's sometime in the future, and these firefighters, yes, they're basically kind of firefighters who fight pretty much people who combust into flames, and they act like regular firefighters. They're just all in black, and they have blue lines. I have seen firefighters in fiction who do wear black, but they do have firefighters in here dressed in white. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, Alexis Tipton has been in a few series, basically, I watch. She's in Fairy Tale voicing Melina. She was in Black Butler voicing Queen Victoria, well, a young version of her. Let's see. Also, in Attack on Titan, Mina Corolla. Also in the series Dragon Academy. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with this character, Rebecca Randall. Yeah, she was the woman who, in the series, basically was making very heavily sexual advances against the main character. One of like several women basically doing that. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, she was also in DBZ. She's in Super, voicing the Kid Trunks and Goten. She also is in. She was in the second season of My Hero Academia, voicing Mi Hasuma. I have to look up later who this person is. She's also in Ace Attorney. She's the voice of Pearl. Yeah, this is her most recent series she's actually been in. And the character Iris, I mean, appearance wise, this character looks almost exactly like Lucy. Yes. Blonde and a nun. Well, blonde hair, but very similar design. We also have a couple other characters who. Now, in the first episode, the main character is introduced basically wearing kind of like a school uniform with a weird looking cross on it. Yeah, there's a bunch of symbolism involving, well, the church in a way, though they apparently worship the flame for some reason. I don't know why. It's a religion in this world. Yep, they basically bow in a in how you pronounce it in a an incinerator, basically a person turned into basically almost like a walking inhuman torch. That's simply what this is. And they battle it via, and it's near a subway train of all things. Actually, yeah, it's basically a regular train. They think that the main character just basically a villain, but nope. He's a new recruit. And he saves Iris from a piece of falling debris thanks to his special feet, which also can combust into flames. And when he flies in the series, it's kind of similar to how Luffy flies in One Piece. Very similar, especially the way his pants are basically made. Yep. So after he saves the people, he goes straight to the firehouse, gets introduced to pretty much everybody there. Then when he meets up with the character, what is her name? I forgot what was Mika. Yeah, when they first introduced Mika in this particular series, they introduced her basically taking a shower with Iris. Now, in the manga, you actually see their rear end because, well, they're both naked. In the anime, they censor it via Steam, which is fine. I don't have a really big problem with that. But if you want to get uncensored scene, check out the manga. You're not the first and not the last time you'll see these characters seen, the female characters seen taking a shower in the series. And they talk about Shinra, and apparently it seems as though she likes making sexual advances towards Shinra. It's implied she might be attracted to him, but nothing is mentioned of it. So, and apparently she designed his suit so he could basically pull up really high because of his feet. And then they go on a mission, like in the very next episode. Well, I think in the very same episode this is. Yep. Because basically in the anime, in manga, it's basically the first chapter is he like joins a group. Yep. This first one basically goes to like a factory to deal with, well, a woman who combust, and they had to put her to rest, basically killing her. And we get to see some of the characters' moves. Now the captain does not have any powers. Neither does the nun. Nope. Just the lieutenant, Shinra, and Mika are the only ones who actually have powers. Mika basically can not actually create flame by will. She has to use some special ingredients to explain later episode, and she has to sort of spread it out like she's Moses splitting the Red Sea. And he gets to the person eventually. Of course, see Shira's flashbacks to his childhood, see because he wants to become a superhero. He basically tells him like, "Why did you come fight? Because I want to become a hero." And the captain actually likes that particular mode to become an actual hero. Which I probably think that some firefighters probably do become a firefighter, probably for the same reason. That's better. Yeah. They probably join for pretty much very similar reasons to become heroes. Probably not to be glorified per se, but yeah. So eventually, after a little while, they do take it out after he basically knocked to a freaking pipe. They eliminate the thing by basically taking a hole in her chest. And of course, well, she's laid to rest, obviously. And in the very next episode, we introduce another new character named Arthur, who knows Shinra, because they went to school together. Oh, and who does his voice? The ever awesome Eric Vale does his voice. Yep, Eric Vale does his voice. And this episode also is an introduction to one other character, Joker, voiced by the awesome Sonya Surratt. Now, the thing about him is that whenever you see him do any voiceover for any voiceover work I've generally seen, with the exception of one other series from this one, he generally voices characters are generally very cowardly. The only other series I can think of besides this one he does not voice a cowardly character is, of course, Soul Eater voicing a character named Ragnarok, who is not a coward. Because generally, he's usually voicing cowardly characters. And this is only the second time I've seen it where he voiced something different, though he also voices apparently Lupin the Third in the Funimation dub for Lupin the Third. Yep. So, and the thing is, when he first meets him, he sees Shira, and they start fighting, and of course he gets to the rooftop, and of course they show up, Mika shows off her power, where she creates a little thing, like, sentient thing, like, and it's like so adorable. And of course, a bit of flashback, a little, I think it's in this episode, the following one, where she's basically like, see like fiery flowers. It's later explained in the manga who actually, I'm not going to spoil who it is. You'll find out when I talk about it in the very next episode. Yep, and then of course, of course they also mentioned the rookie games, basically, just to test, basically, show like all the squad's new recruits, see what they can do. Sounds perfectly reasonable. Of course, it's in the very next episode. Yep, in the third episode of the series, they do this. Yep. And of course, Shinra asked basically the captain, like before the Arthur shows up, actually just before he came into the building, is there gonna be any fire soldiers there? He says, yes, there's gonna be more. Basically, spectators. But yeah, when they show it later on, it's not really that many people. So they fight, and then they get to the rooftop, and then Mika is told by Lieutenant to test them out. And they fight. Now, this scene's pretty much played almost exactly the same way as it is. Now, in the manga, the relationship is kind of similar to that of Zoro and Sanji. It's very similar. Like, a blonde hair character is very chivalrous. Yes. So, you can kind of think Arthur is very similar to that of Sanji. The only difference is there's no mention of him being a cook. Nope. And of course, well, Shinra is basically he's similar to that in a way, to that he has some similarities to Zoro. Well, mainly due to the fact he refers to Arthur as a I'm not going to refer to what he says. It's Shity, Knight. Yep, which that's the same thing that Zoro refers to Sanji as being a chef. Though he refers to him as Devil, while Sanji refers to Zoro as Mosshead. Yep, Mosshead. So they fight. So they basically find the rooftop. Basically shows off his sword, which calls Excalibur. He calls up a Night King. And basically, according to Lieutenant, it's basically a plasma cutter. Basically, because it's a great plasma, because he's a third generation. And the fight proceeds pretty well. Of course, shows up Mika's muscles. Basically, she's kind of like, in a way, if you look at her, she's kind of like the group's China, the bodybuilder of the group. And of course, well, Arthur refers to her as an ogress, and she mistakenly thinks that he refers to her as a gorilla. Yep, so she basically beats the living crap out of him, which I think is so hilarious. And then they go to another scene where it's at a house this time, and apparently Decombustible basically is not moving at all, not causing any damage. And the daughter basically, her mother had also suffered through this as well. So they go in, and Arthur basically says, "Let me do it." Okay. And of course tells us to basically do a prayer. And then he just stabs the thing in the back. Simple as that. And then Ashtar Sorian basically causing him explosions. Luckily he saves the picture of the family and gives it to the daughter. And he also tells them before they go in there that Shinra and Arthur had to put the weapons in their coat because he doesn't want next of kin to see the weapons they use to take out the one they love. That actually makes perfect sense to do, obviously. And he explains this to them, though. He could explain this in, well, I get the reason why he didn't explain this in last week's episode, in the first episode. Mainly because the fact that, well, Shinra didn't have a weapon. Now he does, a freaking axe, a fire axe, which also acts as a shotgun. So, yep, of course, Joker is the one basically, so he's never going to be Joker for the next episode. Yep, and he sets the place up, and he says it'll take more than that to take out me. That's what the captain says because he's a freaking bodybuilder. Yep, how they introduce him is quite interesting. Like when you see him, like when he's not in the suit, he's basically doing pull-ups. I've tried those. They are very difficult to do. Unless you're used to them. I'm able to do like maybe one if I'm really lucky. Like the best I can do is sit-ups. Yeah, I'm not going to go with the whole exercise thing. Yep. But at least you got to appreciate the fact that Shinra is not basically a guy who works out a lot. That goes to the captain. But like there's some similarity. I mean, if you look at this series, it's very similar to that Black Clover. I mean, a group of people who with special abilities who work for the government to deal with stuff. It's very similar to format very similar to that Black Clover. Yeah, and plus the art style reading the manga, it's very similar to that of Blue Exorcist, of course, obviously Soul Eater because it's the same creator, and a little bit of Bleach. Yes, a little bit taste of Bleach here and there. Mostly a lot of the magic-based series, basically. That's how I compare it to. Yep. Let's see, what else? And then, like, the very next episode, this one I was looking forward to, where they show up Joker, he's interacting with a scientist guy who creates this, like, special combustible thing, and it's later revealed to be the ashes of incinerators. Yep. So he took the ashes and turned to weapons. It's revealed in the episode. And, of course, well, that's when he gets used to Squad 1 in this episode. Yeah, the Rookie Games, basically. It's only done this very episode. Yep. Now, Squad 1. If I can get to it here. Yeah, well, we first get introduced to Leonard Barnes, who's the commander of the group. He's voiced by Paul Pierce. I'm not really familiar with him. No. But they do have, like, one other person. Let's see. Let's see, not from that one, no. There's like one other character introducing here from a different company. I think it's from the first. Yeah, it's a woman. Of course, the analysts are on here, but I think his name was Tanama. And when Shinra tries to, because when he first sees her, he stares at her because she barely wears because she doesn't wear a regular shirt. She would basically wear like a bra, and shows a part of her legs as well. And then something hilarious happens. So we talk to her boss, and then he basically tries to talk, and he inadvertently puts his hand underneath her top and starts groping her. And of course he tries to punch it, and then he puts his hands in the back of her pants and basically groping her rear end. Yes, it is the same thing in the manga as well. Though she's embarrassed by this, most women probably would smack him for doing that. Yep. And then they start up the games themselves. Basically, all the rookies line up, and they fire firework, and they all race right. Of course, before all this happens, they just do 119. Basically, it was supposed to be 2 cats and a dog, 2 dogs and a cat, but they changed one of the dogs to a old man. Yeah, these characters show up in the very next episode. So they race in, and he basically just uses his powers to fly to, I think it's supposed to be the 2nd or 3rd floor. He goes in, looks around. That's where he meets Joker for the first time. And he talks for a while. Of course, they do some battling, and of course he reveals that about the truth what happened 12 years ago, where he reveals that his brother's alive. He's like, where the heck has he been for the past 12 years? That's not his question. Then they fight for a little bit more, and then of course we see Tanoki, I think her name is, walking through with versus Arthur, and then Tanoki just drops right on him, which I think is so hilarious. And basically then she thinks that he's a pervert, so she proceeds to beat him up in a hilarious fashion. I think it's so funny. And then they hear a lot of like explosions, and then they get caught up in it. And then eventually, Joker also took out 2 members of two crew members of the fire force. So after he pretty much ignites thing, like pretty much almost blow up the whole floor, he picks him up, carries him on his shoulders, tells the two to grab his legs, fly. Of course, they have Arthur slice a triangle in the freaking ceiling, and then Tanoki basically uses her power, she's like a cat, flames, and uses to pull down the thing, and of course they fly out, and of course they all, well, and then of course he carries the knight himself basically lands on a trampoline. He of course carries down the two people unconscious, and Tonoki is carried by her subordinate who also can fly as well for some reason. Probably because he got flame powers. And when they get down to the ground, he thanks him for saving his subordinate's life. So he owes him. Yep. And then of course after the fire's put out, they have Shinra talking to his captain later about the other ones where, especially I think it's like group 5, I think it is, where they have support from the Hinra. I think it was like 3, I think it was, who's support from a corporation who's basically a sole supplier. And of course, well, that's also revealed that Fire Force may have people from the Fire Agency, the Tokyo Forces, and some holy temple. That's pretty much what makes up it. And of course, they mentioned the fifth company, which they do show up in the very next episode. And well, Shanna basically volunteers to, well, participate in investigation to investigate the first 7 companies and get special stuff that they have. Now, the very next episode introduces the character I'm looking forward to in the anime, Princess Hiniba, voiced by one of my favorite dub actors, Colleen Clickenbeard. Yep, another series featuring her. This is by far the 19th series I've seen her in now. Yep, and this character, wow. It's like this character is almost like a sheer ripoff. I mean, if you look at her and the way she acts, it's very similar to that of Boa Hancock. The only difference is that Boa Hancock that actually tries to charm people, she proceeds to basically break men's bones and uses men basically as a throne and her floor. Yep, and of course they investigate, well, Shinra. Then of course they come across a new incinerator who is a convicted firefighter who was also a murderer. Of course, he was pronounced innocent. Apparently, he killed the judge. It's implied he killed the judge. He's seen this lawyer, and apparently he's able to be intelligent, and he's basically trying to cause some ruckus because he flies away. And of course, Shinra is the only fast to catch up with him. Oh yeah, what's Shinra up to in this episode? Well, there's a call to help get a dog out of a tree. Like, how to get there? And of course, where Arthur and Shinra basically go get it. While Mika basically has to be, well, scolded by the lieutenant over this. And they proceed to get him out of the tree. No problem at all. It's pretty simple. And apparently it's revealed that this guy was put in the tree by 4 college students. Okay. Yep. And then, of course, they go to the courthouse where the guy is, beat him up for a bit, and of course the guy jumps away, and then Sharon chases after him. They fight for a while, and knocks out one of his arms, and then the princess, and then the captain of Iniba of Squad of Company 5 shows up, takes him to custody, of course, he puts him on the ground. Of course, he now in the manga, he looks up her skirt and sees her panties. Here, you see her look up her skirt, but you don't see the panties, but she is definitely wearing underwear. And apparently she's blushing at that. Yes, it's very heavily implied that he might be a pervert. Yep. Of course, he also tells her to lick her shoes. Which, yes, she does this in the manga as well. So this is nothing unusual for her. And, well, he says, I get the fact you're trying to teach him lessons, but this is going way too far. Even I agree. Try to get him to lick his boots. And, of course, well, she gets her own women of her group to hold him down. Make sure he does it. And then the rest of Company A shows up. They have a brief argument, basically a jurisdictional argument, but she takes it into custody despite the fact it's actually their turf, not theirs. Not Company 5, it's actually Company 8's. And of course they keep an eye on him. Of course, it's hinted that Hanabi and Iris knew each other, are basically they're acquaintances, which they actually are. That'll be revealed in the very next episode. Yeah, next arc basically takes up 2 episodes. Yep, this episode kind of starts it, but yeah, next 2 episodes cover the next arc, which is only 8 chapters. Yep, I'll talk about that in my next review, right? But this overall was 4 really good episodes to start the series off. So for episode 2, I will cover the next 2 episodes of the series, episodes 5 and 6. And that basically be it for now. I probably may get time to do one more video today. It just depends basically if I get it done, and if not, I'll probably do it tomorrow, okay? But see you next view. Bye.